Raymond Floyd is over 80 now, and his crimes from the party boy days are finally being revealed. But these aren't the crimes you might expect. They're the crimes against his own potential. The nights he threw away his talent for gambling tables and go-go clubs. The mornings he showed up to tournaments with red eyes and no sleep. The years he spent as golf's most notorious party animal instead of the champion he was meant to be. But here's what makes Raymond Floyd's story so incredible. He didn't just overcome those wild years. He transformed them into the foundation of one of golf's greatest legacies. In the 1960s, Raymond Floyd lived what he called a raucous rat pack lifestyle. This wasn't just weekend fun. This was his way of life. Floyd spent his nights with young women, betting on horses, and playing high-stakes gambling games. He was part of a touring group that included fellow party animals like Ken Still and Bob Roseberg. Floyd admitted later that he went through long periods where he didn't apply himself to golf at all. He would show up to tournaments after getting little to no sleep. His eyes were usually pretty red from the night before. He once said that if there was anything better than women, he didn't know what it was. 3 or 4 in the morning was his normal bedtime. Peter Allis wrote in 1980 that golf came a poor second to nightlife for Floyd during this era. Floyd was in awe of being in the spotlight in cities like Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. But this wasn't just about being young and reckless. The money on the professional tour wasn't big back then. There were no endorsement deals. Players had to find other ways to make a living. Winning and losing tournaments was literally the difference between providing for your family or going broke. So Floyd turned to gambling and hustling. He became known as a hard gambler who wasn't afraid to bet big money on his own skills. One famous story involves a match against Lee Trevino in the mid-1960s. Floyd was a newly qualified tour pro, bold and brash. He played Trevino, who was just an assistant professional at the time, for thousands of dollars in backer bets plus $1,000 of his own money. Floyd felt pretty cocky going into the match, but Trevino's skill shocked him. Floyd lost the first round badly. They decided to play again the next day for another $1,000. Floyd shot 65, but Trevino shot 63. The backers doubled their bets for the final day. Floyd finally won with a 63 to Trevino's 64, clinching it on the 18th hole. That match taught Floyd a valuable lesson about not playing anyone he didn't know for big money, but it didn't stop his gambling ways. Another story shows just how hardcore Floyd's hustling could get. He once played a man named Steve for somewhere between $5,000 and $15,000. In the 1960s, that was considered a giant fortune. When Steve couldn't pay up, Floyd reportedly told him that he knew people who would handle the situation. Floyd's party lifestyle extended beyond just gambling. He was the co-owner of a topless go-go joint in San Francisco called Coke's. He also invested money in an all-girl rock band called the Ladybirds that performed topless. Floyd put up the money to help get them on the road and book them publicity. He even booked them to perform at his own club. Floyd was a regular along the Broadway Strip in San Francisco during the late 60s and early 70s. He was known to be an admirer of famous stripper Carol Doda. Doda herself remembered Floyd and other golfers watching her shows and talking to her at the bar for hours. This was all well known when Floyd was on tour in the 1960s, though the general golfing public might not have been aware. The media scrutiny was much lighter back then. It was a time when professional athletes could still hit the bars, chase women, and live the bachelor life without facing public judgment. But Floyd's reputation extended beyond his party lifestyle. On the golf course, he developed an entirely different persona. He became known for his intense focus and intimidating presence. Fellow players described him as an absolute killer with a large stature and intimidating personality. He had a legendary competitive drive and was known for never giving up. Floyd developed what became known as the Floyd stare, or simply the look. His wife Maria later said he never lost a match when he had that look in his eyes. Other players found him intimidating on the golf course, not because of his personality, but because of his pure intensity as a professional. Nick Price remembered Floyd as a gritty force to be reckoned with and as intense on the course as anyone he ever played with. Floyd was always business on the course. He even told club-provided caddies that he didn't want to hear from them unless he asked them a question first. One story from a Ryder Cup in the 1980s shows how Floyd used his intensity as a weapon. Seve Ballesteros had developed a mysterious cough that only seemed to appear when American players were hitting their shots. Floyd confronted Ballesteros directly. He told him that he heard he had a cough the day before, but that he wouldn't be having one at all that day. Ballesteros' illness mysteriously disappeared, but Floyd's intense demeanor led to some misunderstandings with fans and the general public. He was often described as quiet, intense, and sometimes unapproachable. He wasn't someone who actively sought out public relations or engaged extensively with fans. One fan remembered asking Floyd about his Dallas roots, only to have Floyd stare at him like he had five heads. Floyd didn't say a word and just turned around and walked away. Another fan described asking for an autograph. Floyd looked at him, turned to his pro-am group and laughed. But people who knew Floyd better offered a different perspective. They said his real intense focus led to misunderstandings about him being standoffish. The truth was that Floyd was actually kind of shy. He liked to be around his buddies and family. He didn't understand why people wanted autographs from him. The professional golf landscape in Floyd's era fostered a different mindset too. Winning and losing really was the difference between providing for your family. Players weren't nearly as friendly with each other as they are today. Everything changed for Floyd in 1973 when he married Maria Frietta. Floyd himself said his life had two distinct parts, before Maria and after Maria. He consistently credited Maria with bringing richness to his life, deeper meaning, and a focus on the professionalism of golf. In Floyd's own words, Maria made him realize how lucky he was to be doing what he was doing and how gifted he was to have the talent to be successful. He said he had been squandering his gifts. He was a touring professional, but he certainly was not professional. The transformation was immediate and dramatic. Floyd had won 5 times since turning professional in 1961, including his first major championship at the 1969 PGA Championship. But after marrying Maria, his career path became more decidedly clear and uphill. He went on to win 17 more times after their marriage. Floyd's post-Maria record included 3 more major championships: the 1976 Masters, the 1982 PGA Championship, and the 1986 U.S. Open. Maria's influence was a critical catalyst for Floyd's professional maturation and the transformation of his public image. Floyd's early reputation as a wild party animal and playboy gradually gave way to an image of integrity, intensity, and excellence. He became widely known as a pro's pro. This meant he was someone younger professionals studied and admired for his conduct both on and off the course. Davis Love observed that Floyd always treated people fairly and with respect. Every time Floyd walked up to shake hands, it was with a smile, no matter how he had played that day. This shift wasn't a complete abandonment of his core intensity. Instead, it was a channeling of that intensity into focused professionalism. Floyd's career longevity became truly remarkable. He won PGA Tour events in 4 consecutive decades. He achieved wins on both the PGA Tour and Champions Tour in 5 consecutive decades. He holds the distinction of being the only player to win on both tours in the same year, which he did in 1992. His 4 major championships and extensive Ryder Cup involvement solidified his place among golf's elite. Floyd participated in 8 Ryder Cup teams, captained one, and served as an assistant on another. Even after his competitive retirement in 2007, his enthusiasm for the Ryder Cup never diminished. Floyd continues to apply his expertise to golf course design and other pursuits like fishing and hunting. His unparalleled longevity in professional golf serves as the ultimate validation of his personal and professional transformation. Raymond Floyd didn't just change his game, he changed his life completely. He didn't hide from his wild past or pretend it never happened. Instead, he transformed those experiences into wisdom and used them as fuel for his incredible second act. Today, at over 80, Floyd stands not as a cautionary tale about wasted talent, but as living proof that even the wildest story can end with grace, respect, and lasting achievement.